I was from the Midwest, born in Kansas. Family of cops. Cousin was a cop. My dad was a cop. My brother-in-law was a cop. Just a lot of people that in my life were police officers. But I always had a want as a kid. I think in 7th grade you had to write what you want to do when you grow up, and I was, I think at the time I said to be a screenwriter, in Hollywood. And the teacher said maybe you should think of something that's a little more realistic. Within 2.5 years of moving up there, I produced my first film. One thing I think that did it more than anything was really, really hard work. I was the first one there every day when we were in pre-production or production, and I was always the last one to leave. I got 4 hours of sleep a night. It's just the way it was.
Your work ethic then played a huge part.
I think it was the work ethic. Yeah. I think that was it to begin with, definitely. As a producer, it takes about a year from the inception or developing the script to all the way to actually selling the film. I mean, as a producer, you're in through it the whole time, and it's about a year of your life. Which is why we have to pay ourselves so much money. CEO. I think the work ethic. I think in this industry, you're kind of just as a producer, you're kind of as good as your word. So you really work at not BSing too much, staying online of what you're trying to do. I think I think not panicking, and I know that sounds silly because as a producer or CEO, but you can't get too excited about things. Things are going to happen every day, whether you're the producer on a set or a film shooting or a CEO of a company. Things that could turn people into panic about something occurring. The first rule as a cop, and I think they teach is, you can't panic. Everybody else is going to panic around you when there's an emergency. You got to stay very clear-headed and focused, and don't make rash decisions. Don't make a knee-jerk reaction to something. Think what you're doing and go about it. And I guess that would be probably the best thing that I could say that being a cop helped me with. My mentors have always been more people that I've read about in history. I'm a huge armchair kind of historian. I've studied history. That's what I majored in college. And it's funny when I try to think of something when I have an issue. Sometimes I'll actually go back and read biographies of great leaders just to see what they did. And I get a kick out of it because you can find similarities with historical figures. Their issues, were much more global or national in what they were dealing with, but you can certainly bring it down into your perspective. Everything I look at, I was just talking. We just had a conference call before you came in, and I was trying to explain our new strategy with our company on taking it down a certain path. And the best way was to explain it in kind of a battlefield term. We got to make a beachhead before we move forward, and I think you use those kind of historical perspectives, and people I think get it. And that's what I do. When I talk to people, but when I try to figure out what I should do as a quote unquote mentor.
You have good humor too.
Yeah. Always.
How does that work? How does that come into play?
I think it usually works pretty good. I mean, it can, it can kind of de-escalate situations when you're, when they become volatile. But I try not to take life too serious. I think it's good. I think you live longer, you have less stress, and this is a pretty stressful business that we're in anyhow. So whenever you can kick back and have some fun. I think that's what it's all about. I was that way as a kid. I was always, as I said when I was a police officer, one of the things I was kind of marked off against, noted was for not taking my job seriously. I like to have fun. I like to, and I'm not saying you have fun to the point where you're reckless and you do things where you're. But there's you find the humor in something. I think that's it. Find the humor in whatever you're doing. And like the sign that said when I first came into my first production in LA, it said, now I forget. It was something like, "Don't worry, it's just a movie." Don't get too freaked out. It's just a film. Being clever, find a way around, you're like water. If if you're going downhill and you run up to a mountain, you just find a way around it. You don't try to knock the mountain down. That's it.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Well, you set me up for that one.